Welcome to this episode of our program, A Daily Debate. As usual, we will be discussing an important file, and today we'll be speaking about women empowerment file. Believing in the vital role that is played by women in the society, their ability to succeed in high-ranking legislative as well as executive positions, the state pays significant attention to empowering them economically and socially and ensuring that they have a decent life. Egypt was the first in the world to launch a national women's empowerment strategy for 2030 in line with the goals of sustainable development, which was approved by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. This is our tonight's topic, and we'll be discussing women empowerment and women's status in the past few years. Before we delve into our discussion, let me first take the top story of the day. And President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has approved the final version of the state ownership policy document, which determines the state's presence in the economic sectors and seeks to enhance the private sector's participation in public investment. The announcement was made by Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli during a cabinet meeting on Thursday. The document identifies the sectors from which the state plans to withdraw, decrease or increase its presence over the coming 3 years. It also aims to expand the participation of the private sector in public investment from 30% at present to 65% within 3 years. The Prime Minister added that the document also emphasizes the state's priorities of increasing the participation of the private sector to stimulate economic growth, increase exports, and provide employment opportunities and investments. It also aims to increase the rate of investment by 25 to 30% to achieve a 7 to 9% growth in the economy. The Premier said such growth will provide job opportunities and reduce unemployment. The document is set to be implemented gradually. Dr. Madbouli indicated that the state withdrawal from designated economic activities will depend on a variety of factors. These factors include the nature of economic activities and the dictates of economic developments both locally and internationally. He confirmed whether these activities have strategic value or implications for security will also heavily determine the state's decision to withdraw or not. In addition, the document outlines the state's presence in a number of economic sectors and manufacturing industries. According to the document, the state is set to withdraw from 62 business activities, maintain or decrease its presence in 56 activities, and maintain or increase its presence in 76 activities. The Prime Minister noted that the government will announce its reasoning at each step. Following today's presidential ratification of the document, a Supreme Committee headed by the Prime Minister will be formed to implement the document as per specific timeline. The committee will also be responsible for overcoming all challenges facing implementation, defining the exit mechanism at the level of activities, and determining the appropriate timing to begin implementation. The document was discussed during the National Economic Conference held in October. Dr. Madbouli said the new version of the document responded to 85% of the observations and remarks made during the dialogue sessions. During the dialogue, Madbouli asserted that exiting from some economic sectors does not mean that Egypt was selling its assets to foreign entities. Instead, he said, the aim of such exiting was to empower the private sector. Right. Welcome back, and back to our topic of the day, and as we are moving to our second segment, women's status in 8 years, achievements and aspiration. And let me welcome our guest, Dr. Huda Rezqana, former parliamentarian. And thank you so much for being with us.
You're most welcome. and I wish you a very, very good New Year.
Thank you so much.
To all Egyptians.
Indeed, indeed, we are all aspiring for a hopeful new year.
Yes.
Indeed, indeed, Dr. Rezqana. Before we delve into our discussion, let me take how you view the status of women
Right now?
During the past few years.
Well, there were a tremendous change and a lot of action taken by presidential initiatives to enhance and enroll the women in a lot of activities and to play its part, which is supposed to have it, and to encourage her to be courageous and take the first step to initiate and to act. Egyptian women need support, first of all, and she was hesitant. Is she gonna be there in the cycle, in the view, in the screen, in the action, or she has to be inside home, and like she was faced by, the era before President Sisi. Once he get in the role and get involved in the, presidential action, he was very clear that women should take her part and should be enrolled in a lot of activities and a lot of action, because she is the main player in the society, in the family, and in the future line, her children, and the new generation which should be available for the coming events and the coming fights and coming action. That's why she was enrolled, and she was having a big sector in the thought he was planning for the society. I mean, she has to play its role, supported by a healthy woman. He gave her all the lines to be checking her health and diseases which encounter in
100 million
certain
health life,
ages and the middle age of the woman. You see the program for the woman for checking the cancer, checking routine, routine as hypertension, diabetes, all that stuff which is routinely enrolled in every woman, sometimes in some families in Egypt, and in certain age after 40, 45. And a lot of women, they lack the guidance to check her health status. So he was offering this program, and he was starting with a lot of initiatives for the 1,000 health programs. 100 million health programs. As I am as a doctor, we are enrolled every day for such activity to check on the females and the young females also, to prepare them for the future life. Be a good mother, be a good student, be a good child, healthy and able to move and able to act in a healthy society. That's what we are talking about. Woman is the pillar which can construct this society from upside down and from downstream, because she is the one who can play all the roles. She can play as a man at home if the husband is away, if he's traveling, if he's away and fighting and everything. She is managing the economic status at house. And she's is also monitoring the behavior of her children, and she is the one doing all that aspect. So she has to be enrolled and well taken care of. Health programs, economic support, economic dimensions to be open. Even the judicial system, she is involved in this, and he opened the doors for females to be enrolled in courts and all that stuff. So we can say that there is no way that the woman will let everything and go and sit at home. She has to be in, she has to fight, and has to play her role. The issue also is that we are now looking for the environmental and sustainable development of this society. We are suffering from a lot of hazards, a lot of economical and environmental changes which affect our health and our children and everybody and this earth, on this earth, which is very dramatic. Not in Egypt, no, we are not suffering, at least, thanks God, yeah. But we have signs and symptoms which indicates maybe there is something which comes and annoy us. So that's why we have to be prepared. We have to get ready for everything. Lack of water, droughts,
climate change. Women were very much prepared for
we have
climate
to
change.
be ready to have a self-satisfaction from our greenery, our products. We are not going to depend on importing anything. We have to play this role. And Egypt was famous since a long time along this long course of the north coast. There was a lot of implants and a lot of weeds and all that stuff. We were used to feed Europe. The Roman Empire was feeding from our crops. So we have to return all these areas, and you have to even to replace it and make substitutes for that. That's why women should be taken care of, and the president, we thank him for that, and we need more. We are a little bit very, very, eager to have more support, more, encouragement, more initiatives to the women. It's not only these to open doors. No, we have to open the doors and make a suitable place to play and let her do her job.
I'll take it from here.
Yes.
And we'll divide what you said, because you spoke about everything, Dr. Huda, all at once. So we'll divide what you spoke about. But before we delve into more discussion, let's first have this quick report. And Presidency instructs governmental action, legal amendments to expand women empowerment. And one of that was appointing 98 women to positions on State Council. That was the last. Let's watch.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi announced the appointment of 98 women to positions on State Council in a historic decree issued on Tuesday, the 5th of October. According to the decree, 48 women from the State Lawsuits Authority and the Administrative Prosecution and 50 women from the State Lawsuits Authority and the Administrative Prosecution will begin their work as assistant councillors and deputies at the State Council respectively. According to the decree, 48 women from the State Lawsuits Authority and the Administrative Prosecution will begin their work as assistant councillors and deputies at the State Council respectively. In a meeting with the Supreme Council of Judicial Bodies in June, it was announced that Egyptian women would be allowed to work in the State Council and the public prosecution as of the 1st of this month, which he also announced would become an annual day of celebration for the Egyptian judiciary. No woman had ever previously been appointed to the State Council. According to the announcement, these decisions come in light of the President's keenness to develop the role of the Supreme Council of Judicial Bodies and contribute to achieving full equality between men and women in assuming judicial functions in all judicial bodies. The meeting also announced to equalize financial dues among the 4 judicial bodies and authorities, which includes the judiciary, the State Council, the administrative prosecution and the state lawsuits authority in order to achieve equality in income among peers in every judicial body. Earlier in March, marking International Women's Day, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi ordered the Ministry of Justice to allow Egyptian women to hold positions in the State Council and the Egyptian Public Prosecution. The State Council, a judicial authority that examines administrative disputes and disciplinary cases involving public authorities, has not previously allowed women to take up positions as judges.
Right, welcome back, and let me again welcome Dr. Rezqana. And we were speaking about the women's role and the status of women during the past period. We've just seen this report of appointing 98 for the first time in Egypt at the State Council, and indeed increasing women representation proportion at the House of Representatives and the Senate to 27%.
Yes.
And allowing women to assume leading posts in several high-ranking positions. How do you view that?
Well, I can see that there is still some work to be done, of course, because there are a lot of obstacles everywhere. It's not a piece of cake.
We'll definitely speak about obstacles, because this is very important to understand also what women are going through.
The thing that when you monitor and judge and assess the work of the women in these posts, you have to evaluate the work and evaluate the issues they are raising and the solutions they are offering to the society. Because we are not gonna bring them in this council and they do nothing. We have to see and evaluate their effort and their knowledge, how to apply to solve all these problems, the society problems. We have a lot of differences from Upper Egypt problems to countryside problems, to the shore, or Bedouin society. There are a lot of differences. So we have to initiate the differences and the society willing to solve what kind of problems we're gonna start with. Is it education? Is it culture? Is it the marriage issue? The early marriage, the early involvement in problems as a society.
One of the things that were very much addressed was the early marriage, and that was very much in focus
right now. This is a big issue
by the leadership himself.
Yes, he visualized and he knows what's going on, of course, and he can see the problems rising when you have a mother with 14 years or 15 years in age, and she cannot understand what she can do to this baby she brings to this life, and
how she can raise
raise these children, how she can educate, how she can feed, how she can inoculate and do their routine checkup and all that stuff. So we have to get support, society support. We have to get health support. We have to get a system which support this and prevent this early marriage. How we prevent it?
Dr. Rezqana, let me discuss it with you frankly. We're speaking about the lack of legislation. Are we speaking about the culture of the society? Are we speaking about this inability to understand the role that should be really played by women in different societies? And you respectively said here Bedouin societies, the Upper Egypt societies, villages societies, and urban communities societies. We're speaking about different segments of societies.
It's a very big area.
Indeed. So are we speaking here what exactly, what is the difficulty here?
The difficulty is with a lot of differences in the society here. We have to be courageous and examine thoroughly and honestly what's going on here, why there is a problem still, why education doesn't solve this problem. Because we are educating people in the school and prevent so and so and so, but it doesn't work when they go home. It doesn't go when she goes to her marriage. Yes, at the village side, even in the countryside, in the Upper Egypt side, because there is a lot of restriction. Although I admire very much women in Sohag, in certain areas in Upper Egypt, they are very alert and very educated and very we've been visiting them, and I admire a lot of women there. The thing that she needs to be supported, and also need also to be engulfed with the governorate society. She is not away. She should be involved in the governorate. She should be involved in the health management and in the role of environmental awareness and education. She has to be a teacher. Even if she cannot go to these places, she can do it at home. She can do it at home with her children. I can give you an example. I saw it myself. There are a lot in Japan. They don't go to work, the women, and they offer this at home. She teach children. They are educating their children. They don't have to go to the school, but she teaches them everything, and she is monitored by a responsible lady from the governorate itself, and they do the follow-up, and they pass the exam by the end of the year. So it's not very remote or very far away to be solved. It's there. The solution always there.
Yes.
But we have to find it, and we have to be honest to get rid of these elements which weakens our society.
Exactly. I'm speaking about the elements, because what I'm speaking about here is the fault in the lack of legislations, of laws, or is it the culture gap between societies, or is it that we are not integrating enough women in urban communities?
Yes.
In the way that really show them the real role that they have to be playing. What do we lack here?
First of all, woman is very honest to do her work and her job. And she's like missed because she needs to do everything and she cannot do anything. Look what I'm talking about. She cannot do anything. Why? Because the society won't let her. The society is not prepared to help her. Even with the presence of the Council of Women in every governorate, they should play their role, and they should initiate a wave of change and education and technical support to the women at home even.
Yes, but before we generate, we have to understand that there is big difference between women in big cities and the role they are playing, because
yes.
we're seeing here ministers, we are seeing parliamentarians as yourself, and we're seeing even young women teachers and scholars and professors at universities, and we're seeing women at very high-ranking positions.
Yes. Yes.
So we have to differentiate here between, not to generate the issue, we have to differentiate between urban communities or some of these segments in some communities, and definitely cities. So here is the point. How those in urban communities and in villages and in other communities, how can we really reach out to them? How can we approach them in a way that can really help them?
Well, I'm telling you that the key is in this society. who is dominating there? Is it the woman or the man? And what about the Council of the Women? Is there any representative for the woman in this area which can speak about their problems?
Campaigns, you mean here?
In the campaigns, or in sort of gathering every month. It has to be gathering. Problem for education, problem for environment, water, food, school issues. All that should be implanted on a monthly basis. Why? It's not very difficult, at least. If they get used to that, they will take it in a very simple way. And this, the issue is gonna be that we are monitoring what we are doing and the results or for the legislation. We put legislation with low implementation. If we are lacking implementation, we did nothing with our legislative forms.
Let me here take it from this way. There was this very big initiative of Haya Karima, or Decent Life, that involved or covered more than 60 million people.
Yes.
And part of that were women, very much addressed. And part of the institutions who are partial of this initiative is the National Council for Women,
yes,
where they are trying to send or to find out women in villages, what's their problems, how to find solutions. Here is how can we find what do women aspire in those areas, because sometimes there is also the fear.
Yeah.
They are frightened to express what they need. They don't have the chance to express themselves
yes,
in the best way. Traditions prevent them. Here we are speaking about a culture of a society.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that media and television, all that stuff, reach these areas or not?
I don't know.
Because
what do you think?
This is dramatic.
As a former parliamentarian, how do you...
I think there is a lot of areas you can reach them by television and even the radio. There are a lot. And they got attracted to the stories. They like very much stories. If you give them everything in a form of stories, they grasp it very well. Because I remember that there are areas sometimes that they remember Fuad al-Muhandis, Safiya al-Muhandis, all that problem with the women program and all that, كلمتين وبس الكلام ده, very, very, very light and very touching issues, and they bring the problem and they put it in a frame of joke. This is not the issue, but it enlightens some areas in their ideas and their thinking. What we need to do is that we have to promote a kind of awareness by media and kind of schools also. Schools is very important. Activity in the schools. They should bring the mother and father, which is very difficult, of course, in the countryside or the upper Egyptian area. But we have to initiate this, and we have to try and try and try. Because if we don't do it, we won't be able to initiate a wave of change or a wave of cultural and educational awareness about major problems coming to this country.
Indeed, indeed. We'll be discussing more and more at this upcoming time. Before we continue on with our discussion, let's first have this quick report on Egyptian girls' women-centered sustainable development. Let's watch.
President of the National Council for Women, NCW, Maya Mursi, participated in the 66th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, CSW, held from the 9th till the 25th of March in New York. Morsi spoke about Egypt's efforts to achieve gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls in the context of climate change, environment, and disaster risk reduction policies and programs. Morsi said Egypt was among the countries most affected by climate change, even though it accounts for only 0.6% of global greenhouse gas emissions. She noted the acceleration of national efforts and policies to protect the environment due to its importance in advancing sustainable development and honor their commitment to decent standards of living, in addition to Egypt's commitment to relevant international conventions and, above all, the stipulation of the Egyptian constitution that every individual has the right to live in a healthy environment. She said that the government is committed to adopting the necessary measures to preserve and rationally use its natural resources. She noted that regarding the impact of climate change on women, particularly their health, food security, and decent living standards, Egypt has taken many serious measures to implement a sustainable development model. Egypt established the National Council for Climate Change, headed by the Prime Minister, she said. Moreover, Egypt's cabinet includes the Ministry of Environment, headed by a female. There is a gender unit in Egypt's economy, an equal opportunity unit, the Ministry of Environment, working in cooperation with the NCW, adding that the Council also launched an approach to integrate women's needs into the environment sector and to regulate environmental sustainability standards. Morsi pointed to the Decent Life initiative launched last year, which makes women and their needs one of its main pillars. The initiative takes into account environmental dimensions and sustainability criteria and dedicates £800 billion to 58 million Egyptians, 50% of whom are women.
Right, welcome back, and welcome back to you, Dr. Rezqana. And
You're most welcome.
The pleasure. Egypt's 2014 constitution, at the very beginning, that included more than 20 articles on women's rights in various aspects of life. Today, not today, of course, just
Nowadays.
just 2 days. 2 years ago, Egypt launched the 2030 National Women Empowerment Strategy. For the very first time, women were very much included in the vision of 2030 for sustainable development.
Yes.
And she had her own part and share of it, called the National Women Empowering Strategy. How do you view that? What does this entail of the leadership to empower women? How is that significant to women, and then how it reflects really on the society?
As you can see, that there a lot of work has to be done. A lot of work, not just we discuss it on a meeting, on a table for once upon 3 or 4 months. No, there should be a plan to fulfill and scheduled to perform.
Pinpoint your finger on plan.
Plan, which is
those who are supposed to be formatting and implementing those plans.
Well, this Council of Women full of expertise and full of dedicated people, and they can initiate a wave of change if they willing to, because there are a lot of items should be. I don't know. Sometimes I feel that they are not have the heart to do it. I don't know why. I cannot say that because they are very, very good people. Yeah. But what I mean that they are lacking push, which give them the courage and to perform tremendously. What do you mean by tremendously? And I'll give you that. If we have a plan to culture education or environmental awareness.
But already they established that during the COP, and Dr. Maya Mursi spoke about...
what's the program for them? Did she offer a program to start?
Yes, she said here that Egypt has taken many serious measures to implement sustainable development models and regarding the climate change, that there was this National Council for Climate Change, headed by the Prime Minister himself.
Okay.
And that the Ministry of Environment, headed by a female, and has, I mean here that they have already put some of the measures to make women aware of the climate change and the repercussions of them in order to be able to avert those...
Did they put a plan and a time schedule for that?
An action plan, you mean?
Yes.
Yet to be seen. Yet to be seen, because that was just launched during the COP.
A month ago?
Yes.
So
yes.
We have to be very tactful at this point, because we have to follow them. We have to get after them because they have to do something. There are a lot of issues should not be taken lightly, should be taken seriously. One of these are the climate change. Yes. We are not talking jokes, we're not talking dreams, we are talking facts around the world, the whole world. If you can see that.
But before we speak about climate change, Dr. Rezqana, then we have to speak about their daily lives. We have to speak for an instant about what do, or how to give them, enlighten them with raising up a family, the importance, the responsibility, the responsibility beside work, the responsibility inside house, in home, indoors.
Do you think that they need support at this area, or they are very well supported? I think they have to, if they are lacking this, they should speak up and ask for it. Because nobody will tell them what to do except if they are speaking up. If you have a problem, we have to speak about it. No shame, no embarrassment, nothing. Nobody born with the knowledge of everything on this world. We have to put programs which they have to go through it, and they finish this and start another program. That's why they need support, educational support, the knowledge. They need support by financial support, technical.
Financial, this is given in a way or another.
It's not bad. I'm telling you, it's not bad, because it's very important. If she's wasting time outside the home to educate, or to have some lectures, or to have some experience in such an areas, it should be compensated. Or do some work for some initiatives, whatever. Very, very small amount of money doesn't make any difference. But it is a motivation for the woman. It has to be motivated. Even for the schools. The schools also should have program which is responsible for this culture and education and awareness. And it should be fulfilled by the end of the day. They should not go through exam which give them, zero or no. They have to know what's going on once and twice and 3 times. No problem. But to tell you the truth, we have to be on one heart. We have to educate each other, and we have to culture awareness. Like the people who are implanting trees. If you put one tree, it's nothing. If you put 5 trees, it's something. If you put 10 or 15 trees, it's very good. So that's why we are talking about community work, community support. This is very important because we cannot initiate any change except everybody is involved.
Everybody
It's not only the president who should offer this and we are clapping and we are sitting here. What we are going to do? We did nothing. So we have to support him by starting work. That's what I mean.
Everyone in terms of institutions or NGOs or society work or media, how can that be all gathered all together?
Well, you are very smart, but I'm telling you, now if you are talking about change, society change, we have to do it
all together.
All together. Why all together? We cannot sit and watch everybody what they are doing and we are watching and that's it. No, we have to start the cycle with all the wheels working on the same time. Because if one is lagging or one is obstructed or one is not correctly planned and the tile as itself, it won't work the whole thing. It's a big cycle. So that's why I initiate the area of, in my thinking, that we have to adjust the wheels. We have to adjust the wheels and we have to start properly. We have instructions, we have a proper wheel, we have to keep it clean, adjustable, able to work and well tiered, all that stuff, and we have to get people who are starting working with this wheel because this society is going to be on that wheel.
From your point of view, Dr. Rezqana, what are the most important problems women face? I mean here.
Which area?
Growth in population.
Well, population problem, it says it has to be faced and has to be solved. But why we have to take it seriously?
The right to play a role in this area.
This
divorce, which we're seeing tremendously those days.
Why?
Responsibilities that are carried by...
Why we take divorce?
Exactly. This is why I'm speaking about those challenges are really hindering the full empowerment of women. And that is traditions, society traditions.
But our tradition prohibits the divorce. They don't like divorced women.
But they get divorced anyway.
Unfortunately.
That is one of the problems. That
yes,
is one of the problems.
It's very important
here,
to know.
Here, if I may ask you, should it be the role of the state to put legislation regarding those problems? Should it be, for instance, religious institutions?
Can I be frank?
Yes, please do. Please do.
We initiate the family court. We initiate court special for divorced women and their problems, or the people who are planning to get divorced. Is it working or it's not working?
It's working in full capacity, and that's the problem.
That's it. Why
the court is working in full capacity,
but
and we don't want it to work.
We are not gonna say that, but we're gonna say that before they proceed in the divorce process, did they have sessions to reconciliate or to solve
exactly
what is going on in this family? Is it the husband? Is it the woman? Is he drunk? Is he addicted? Is she lazy? Is she not faithful? Is she not taking care of the families? All these, there are a lot of wings should be in this court and taking care of every item as I mentioned right now and give their a remark. 0, 1, 2, 3. The people who got all the zeros, they are finished. But the people who can restart again and we find solutions.
Well, because it's not just that. I'm speaking about the whole problems that they are facing regarding
The bottom line will be money. I'm telling you. And the bottom line also, not money only, but he's trying to get a job outside, abroad, whatever, and she's not happy with this, and a lot of areas coming through this because the family said, why he's gonna leave you, and you know, and this initiate the crack. When you initiate this crack, nobody is willing to solve it except this family court, which is prepared by, not only by judge, no, social workers, social people, psychological doctors, supportive, environmental areas. Maybe they are born in this area which is makes everybody suffocated, and there is a lot of desert area which you cannot breathe oxygen properly. That's why you are not tolerant to discuss anything. You are always on fire. This is true. I'm telling you.
Yes, I can understand that.
So there are a lot of environmental areas and changes which can be one of the elements, the major elements we are looking for. That's why we have to be very honest in searching this.
Yes, indeed.
And we have to follow this with you.
Yes, we'll be doing that. Unfortunately, my time is out here and I have to end it. Yes, unfortunately. Dr. Huda Rezqana, former parliamentarian, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
You are most welcome.
Our pleasure.
And Happy New Year, and all Egypt have a Happy New Year.
Indeed.
And we send our wishes to the President Sisi to wish him a very good year to come.
Yes, we're wishing all Egypt,
yes,
the leadership, our and
the lady
people,
Sisi ladies,
and the, of course, the leadership, our institutions, brave institutions, and our nation.
Yes.
Well, I guess yes, indeed, that's the last daily debate in 2022. Next daily debate would be on Sunday, the 1st of January, 2023. May God make it a blessed year for the whole for our country and for the whole world. A happy new year. Hopefully, a blessed one. Many thanks for watching.